Hello and welcome back. I'm so happy that you continue to check in with me because at times it can get quite quiet around the lab. I will have Millie coming at the end of the week, so be sure to, you come back for that. She has a story to tell us, but sorry for today you're stuck with me. I'm so sad. I kid. You are the best thing to happen to me this year, and I can't wait to tell you the news and have guests and focus on stories and all of that kind of thing. It's just all so amazing, and I cannot wait. I have also been working on worksheets and activities that you can do after the show to have fun and of course learn at the same time. Alright, so without further ado, let me go take a seat in my... Ouch, what the heck was that thing? What is a shelf? That is what happens when the animals run into it. May I please ask what you are doing here? You should know I don't mind visitors, but a simple call before you show up would be nice. And maybe not running into my wings, for running at all would be great as well. At least in the lab. Well, here's the thing, Doctor. I heard you were trying to teach another planet the key life lessons, and I wanted to try to help. I am not quite sure you can help me at this moment, but I would love to contact you when I do need your help. No worries, doctors, but I know that I can help with. I can tell them about my mindset, because my kind is the oldest living family in Ireland. It takes a lot of strong mindset to make it through the Ice Age. Alright, well I do agree that you have something valuable to teach. Here and here. Will you have a story ready for today? I sure do, if you don't mind me telling. It is a simple story of how my family got here. Well, must be true because I do not want to tell my listeners anything that may not be true. Of course, Doctor. This story is all absolutely true. As far as what's been passed down from generation to Nordville, it must be absolute. It was a long, wintry night. Well, at least let's go sit down in my storytelling chair. Now that was your best friend yet? I apologize, and I do welcome you to the lab anytime you want to come over. I'm just don't want my things bounced on, and if we can make that happen, please. Oh, and before I forget, to say welcome to my lab. So, welcome to my lab. And I think you already know, but I do have a young human, and that is the one that I am teaching. Very small human. This is my friend Harry. He has an Irish hair, although if you ask me, he is 90% hair and only 10% Irish. He was born and raised not far from here, in a town named not far from here. Now, like the doctor would say, without further ado, let's get to my story. I suppose, but nothing bad about the giraffes, or I will voot you out on your booty. You're a silly one, lad. I'm not a giraffe, and neither is anybody else in my family. Now, if you're done yapping your answer this, I think I have a story to tell. They were asacons, but please go on. So, like I was saying, it was years ago. You have to be thorough. Please tell us how long ago. Please tell your icicons down. I'm trying to tell a story. Now where was I? Yes, at the very beginning. So, many years ago, my mom's was born. Some say almost 30,000 years ago. There was a wee hare born to your world, little human. He was a cute wee little thing. He was not the smartest, and he was not the strongest. And he was definitely not the fastest. What the little bunny had was a great mindset that leads to great motivation. And a true steal you can't take from nobody. Every day this hare got picked on. They could call him Harry the Hairy Hare. I am from a long generation of Harrys, although I can't remember the exact number anymore. In some cultures, it is a tradition to hand names down. Is it customary in your culture? Alright, moving on now. Then we mustn't waste any time now, shall we? When school was finally invited, my kind was the first one in line. Yes, just a wee little thing my great-great-great-grand Harry was. Yeah, I think you got the point. He was in front of the line when he started because he was the first one there. He was there actually 2 hours early. He heard the news, he was so excited, he stepped outside the school to make sure he was the first one. Because he was such a wee little thing, all the other animals pushed right past him. But he did find his way to the sign-up table, eventually. He sat there and he watched all the other animals get signed up for class. One by one, he moved up. As soon as it was his turn, the teacher stood up and said, I'm sorry, little whatever you are, but you must have your mommy or daddy sign you up because I need this slip. and it needs a signature from your parent, you mangy thing. His mommy labored in the garden, and so did his dad. It was harvest day, and they had no time to go to the city escapade with their silly little child. That did not stop him from trying, though. He ran all the way home, and he asked his dad, I need you to come down and sign a paper with me to get me into school. But they have only limited seats, so I need you to hurry. I'm sorry. I'm just so busy, said his dad. I cannot come with you right now. May you go ask your mother. She might be able to take a break for a minute. He ran in the house and quickly asked his mother, Mama, I need you to sign this paper for me for school, but you must come quick. Dear, I guess I can take a minute, said his mommy. If this means so much to you, and you to be sure to take over the garden, when we can't any longer. Anything, Mommy. Now let's go. All right, said Mama. And they almost ran all the way to the school. They lined up, but when they got there to the front of the line, the lady looked at him and his mama and said, We don't have seats for you inside. I'm so sorry, baby, said his mama. I tried my best. Mama walked back home, but little Hare stayed. He watched at least another 100 animals get signed up, but not my poor grandpa. But that did not stop him from learning. The next day, 2 hours before the school started, he rolled up a huge log, but not any log. He stayed up all night building a chair. It was built with the last piece of wood from his granddad's special tree. He set it up right outside of the window of the class, and he sat there and he waited for school to start. And his daddy helped. Other students started to file in 5 minutes before the time the school was supposed to start, and some of them even showed up late. Some of them showed up an hour late. My granddad took 2 deep breaths, and he had to take a big, deep breath. Teacher was teaching them how to do the ABCs. He sat there and he listened for hours until one of the other animals pointed him out. Miss Gazelle, Harry, the hairy hare is sitting outside and bothering me. But the lady at the table just said there was no seats left inside for me. I made my own, and it's not inside, as you can see. I'm just sitting here quiet, not hurting anybody, said my granddad. I'm sorry, but I must ask you to leave. I will not listen to your smart behind. You may stay today, but do not come back here tomorrow, or there will be consequences. This is an interesting story, but I must tell them what consequences mean. Consequences mean you do not, when you do something bad that you are told not to do, like when you cry a lot and you get a toy, broken, and you get that toy taken away, or you get certain things that you were normally allowed to do taken away. Now, I must apologize. Please go on. Thank you, doctor. But I was planning to get to that. The next day, the hare showed up, ready to learn something, because he was ready to learn. But mostly because he did not know that what that big word meant. Good thing we do now. Anyway, Miss Gazelle looked outside, and she was furious. She said, I thought I told you not to come back here. No, ma'am. You just said when I did there would be consequences. That means you will be in big trouble. I give you one last break, but you better not come here tomorrow, or something bad will happen to you. My granddad was a motivated student to learn, so he did not listen, and he went back the next day. He sat down on his oh-so-special log. Miss Gazelle looked out the window and seen him sitting there. So she went to the window and she said, I thought I told you not to come back here. No, ma'am. You actually said that there would just be something bad happen to me. I was willing to take the chances. A smile grew on her face, and she said, Very clever, little boy. And you may sit there today, but that will not be a choice tomorrow. The next day, when Harry arrived in the place of where his seat was, now stood a huge pile of wood chips. Harry looked at them, and he began to cry and cry. When the teacher walked in, she did not come to the window. She listened, and she smiled, and began the lesson. A couple hours before the end of the day, the same girl raised her hand and said, Teacher, Harry is outside, and he's bothering me. The smile she had all day long faded, and she listened. No crying. She went to the window, and Harry was there laying on top of the wood chips, and she was furious. Why did you not go home and grovel, you? Because, Miss Gazelle, you are a teacher, correct? Of course I'm a teacher, she said through gritted teeth. What of it? Well, I realized I must have said something because when you took something we all cherish away, I was the only one crying. I know I'm not allowed in the school, but I was going to wait till after. If you would go over that lesson with me again, that would be amazing. I mean, you're right, Miss Gazelle. It was a good lesson. Knowing he was poor, her smile grew again. As she said, I will tell you what. You bring something to write with and on tomorrow, and I will let you stay. Really? Harry said. He was so happy, and he ran home and he asked his parents. I'm so sorry, honey. We can't afford anything like that. I know, Mom. I'm not asking. I'm telling you. And he ran out of the house. He went and he found a feather to a goose and some mud. He packed the mud into a leaf and he hid it away. But, I was mean to you. The next day, he went to school so much happier that he can be because he doesn't have to face any more consequences. The teacher with a big smile walked to the window, and to her surprise, there he was. What are you doing here? We have no time for arts and crafts. I figured as much, ma'am. What I'm trying to say, said the teacher, is you have no pen or pencil, just things. You did not say a pen or a pencil. You said something to write with, ma'am. I just did that. Oh, Miss Gazelle had one last trick up her sleeve. She went to her desk and she pulled out a notebook. She gave it to him to write in. She said, as long as you could hand this in every day, if I ask for it, you can stay. But just like the other children, if it is destroyed, you cannot rejoin us until you pay for it. He jumped with glee. I'll do it. He said, thank you, Mom. He took such good care of his notebook for 3 long weeks. Not a single imperfection. But every day, Miss Gazelle grew angrier, and Harry did not know why. He did everything he was asked. One day he came to school and set up shop. It was a cold, cloudy day, and the teacher had a smile on his face. 1 hour into the lesson, and he started to sprinkle. The teacher's smile grew. Then it started to pour. The teacher jumped with glee. At the end of the class, the teacher collected all of her notes as a routine after rain checkup. When she went to the window to collect the hare's book, he was nowhere in sight. And she danced around. To be sure, she called out to the hare in amusement. Oh, hare, she said, I need your notebook. When no answer came, she shut the lights for spring break and she left the school. It rained for 1 week straight, but Hare never showed up at home, and Mama and Dada Hare got really worried, and they looked for him the whole week in wind and rain. They could not find their baby. The S1E finally came back out on a Monday when school came back to session. The Hare's parents went to the school to ask if they had seen him there. Boy, I kicked him out 100 times, and he just wasn't smart enough to listen. Daddy Hare stood up and said, we may not be the smartest or the strongest, but we have the greatest tool ever to fight the ignorance of yours, and that is the motivation. The teacher went to show them where he usually sits, now lays. When the teacher went to look out the window, there he was, just sitting there with nothing on but his underwear, dripping wet. But his notebook was perfectly dry. The teacher, appalled, stepped up. Mommy and Daddy ran so fast to him as they could give him hugs. They pushed him right over. Where were you, son? We looked everywhere. I hid under the log to hide my notebooks, so they could not get wet, so I could continue to study, Mom. But honey, who told you that? Said his mama. Said the principal. That is our rule, but since you kept it dry, you may stay here. But we have to be fair to all the others. If the notebook is destroyed, we will have to kick you out until it is paid for. The hare was so happy to see his parents, but he was more happy to go on and stay there in school. Well, out of school. It was almost the end of the semester when he was walking home, and he tripped, and he dropped his notebook, and he watched it fly through the air, and it landed into a puddle, a big puddle of water. All his work, all his studies, and to top it off, he couldn't go back. He ran and he picked it up and he took it to the principal and he nodded his head. The principal said, "I'm sorry, Hare, but you may not sit outside Miss Gazelle's window until you get it replaced." Not sad at all. The hare went home and he enjoyed his summer. Not one thought of school in his mind until school started again. He went to school 4 hours early because he had some things to do. He went and he swept up the wood chips and he moved them on down to the next window, the second grade window. When the principal and Miss Gazelle walked up, they was astounded and they ran out to see him. "I thought I told you not to come back." "No, you told me I was not allowed to be outside of Miss Gazelle's. I figured that was okay, because I already learned all her great lessons, from grief to motivation to never give up. Now I'm on to Miss Antelope's class." The principal and Miss Gazelle started to glow redder than an apple. Miss Antelope walked in to look at the three of them, and she asked what they were doing. Before they could even answer, she invited Harry to have a seat. The cat must have caught the principal's and Miss Gazelle's tongue. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but there isn't a seat for me. If you could just write a tad bit bigger than Miss Gazelle, that'd be great. It was a little hard to see last year." She picked up his things at once and moved him to the front of the class. The principal looked at Miss Antelope, and he said, "He is right. We have no seats for him. He must go." "Actually, Mr. Principal," said Miss Antelope, "Jimmy funked the grade. So I believe you have me and Miss Gazelle confused. I have one extra seat. She is the one with the seat problem." She winked at Harry. "That was a great story. Awesome job." "Thank you very much. But so your young human knows, Harry went on to be valedictorian, and all thanks to a lot of motivation and a great mindset." That was very good. I'm going to say goodbye to my viewing, then I will be back to say goodbye to you. Please help yourself with some good H2O, so good, or maybe some positivity. Anyways, my young human, I hope you enjoyed the unexpected story that dropped on us. With Mindset on Mind, I suppose he will be back to answer some very important questions that you may have, or even that I may have. But for night, have a good night, and I will view you tomorrow. Good night.